Hey you, it's me. And I just got done watching South Park's, I don't know why that's so hard to say, South Park's Panderverse episode. And it was alright, it had some good laughs in it. But it did make me think a lot about people and being inclusive. And I think that's important. I really do. But it's not always it's not always something that can be done. There are businesses that specifically cater to a certain portion of the population that they can help. And I think that's very important. But most businesses are general populace. So when someone is saying, hey, you need to make bigger hallways because I have a bigger body and I need more room, that could cost billions. That it could just to add a few extra inches. It's not that simple. Getting a mattress that withstands more weight, is that possible? I think it probably is, but it's probably going to be a lot more expensive, and that expense is going to come down to the customers because they're the ones who are going to have to pay for that extra expense. It's like me saying I'm only 5'1", so every grocery store needs to cater to my size and make shelves that I can actually reach instead of having to ask somebody near me, hey, can you get me that? That would cost so much money. That would be ridiculous. And it would also mean that stores would have to either become bigger or they would have to sell less product because they wouldn't have as many shelves to put it on. You can't do that. And what about the tall folks? Are you going to make different grocery stores for them so that they have shelves that are higher? So that they can put more in so that the taller person doesn't have to bend down or get down on their knees to get stuff? I mean, inclusivity is good, and I don't see anything wrong with that. But most businesses, like a grocery store or a clothing store, cater to the mass. They cater to the general population. And that's what you have to deal with. You know, Glitter and Lasers did a video that I'm glad she took down because she looked like an entitled see you next Tuesday. She's complaining that there's all these cute clothes but nothing in her size. Well, they cater to the general populace, which is, I'd say, probably like a extra small to a 2X. But there are stores that cater to bigger girls. They are specialized, and they cater to women up to 6X, 8X. So shop at those stores. People have special and specific needs, and there are stores that cater to that. Go to those. I mean, are you going to have a whole line of clothing for people who have no arms, so there's no armholes in it? You know, how much is that going to sell? But if you are a specific clothing company that says, hey, we make products for people who have just one arm or just one leg or no arms or no legs, we make clothing specifically for them to wear so that they can feel comfortable. Well, that's great because everybody needs clothing, and it's got to be a hassle when you have, say, one arm and you have an open sleeve on the other side. I see most people just pin it together, close it off. Well, why not just make clothes that are one-armed? But there are specific companies that will do that sort of thing. And I think that's great. And I think that those are the kind of companies I would donate to because they are catering to a specific people in the population who need that. But it's not everybody. It's hard to make any profit off that because it's such a small part of the population, but they still exist and they should still get clothing. that fits them, that is comfortable. And I just think these, I guess they call themselves fat activists. I think that they forget that there are a lot of people who have special and specific needs. They're not the only ones. There's a lot of people who can't travel because of specific ailments. Well, wouldn't it be great to have ways so that they could travel, so that they too could experience things that most people do? And people do that now. There's so many specific companies that cater to those that are not the populace, to help them to do the things that they want to do so they can just feel like a normal person like everybody else. And I think that's fantastic. But you can't ask every business to do that. With the shelves, again, you cater to small people like myself. What about the tall people? So you cater to tall people. But what about the small people? Do you divide the store between short people and tall people? I mean, then it's just more dividing. It's just ridiculous. I think that these activists don't think. They think about themselves and their wants and their needs. But they don't think about what would be beneficial to the general populace. And again, if you have an idea that would help a certain segment of the population, jump on that. You could be the most well-known company for doing that. I think that's awesome. But you cannot blame companies like Target or Walmart or Forever 21 or grocery stores in your area for catering to the general populace, because that is the bulk of people, and that is where the profit lies. You can't blame them for that. I feel sorry for activists who feel the need to complain about all these things. My question is, if you have the money to do all this traveling, to buy all these clothes, to buy all these things, why don't you invest your money? Invest in, say, a motel or hotel chain that does cater to bigger people, that does have wider hallways, that does have mattresses that can withstand more weight. Or maybe sponsor 1 or 2 rooms in a motel or hotel that have these features. You can pay for the mattresses and then rent the rooms. I mean, there's so many ways that you can go about it. Instead of complaining about everything that you think is wrong in the world that isn't catering to you, find a way to make it cater to you and people like you. Although you are a small part of the population, you still exist and you still deserve to have things that work for you. I'm not saying that you don't. You do. Everybody does. So create it. Make it. But stop complaining so hard because everybody can't. And I know that a lot of people make the point, oh, well, you know, you're a big person, you could lose weight. It's not that easy to lose weight. I understand that. I was over 200 pounds. Now I'm not. I've worked very hard to lose the amount of weight that I have. But it's not easy. It took me years. It's not something that can happen overnight. And I understand that. So saying that isn't helpful. It's just not. If they are working towards it, it's going to take time. It doesn't happen overnight. So having things catered to them at their current size is okay to ask for, but it's not okay to demand. It seems really harsh, and it seems really entitled. You're not entitled to everything and everywhere, but you learn how to make it work, and you learn how to make it work for you. And if that means creating something yourself, then I say do it. You could truly make a fortune at that and make a lot of people really happy. Huh? Something to think about, maybe? Anyway, that's all I gotta say.